And as Mike said, my name is Reverend Ken Smith, and thank you for the opportunity to share my story with you during this time. I'm going to start it off with just a little reading from a passage from a author named Elizabeth Turner. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
great. It cannot be emphasized often enough that we draw spiritual tests to ourselves by our very intensity of our desires to know God and to be worthy of love. Thus, the challenges that come are not misfortunes, but rare good opportunities. In the end, they bring us the peace for which we yearn. And me sharing my story here today is an example of that. You know, whatever happens to life, you find love in it and you find that beauty in it that propels you forward without leaving bitterness there. So, getting along well from my perspective of life unfolding. So what I'm going to share with you is a couple of life experiences that I've had. And I'm going to start with what I call a Christmas gift. And then I'm going to talk about a break and a paradigm shift. And then from there, I'm going to talk about a breakdown. And then I'm going to sum it up with my experience in my community full of love of Circle of Miracles from the moment that I walked into the door. And so let me start back in my early time, and I'm going to start in different spaces, and then I'll bring it all together in the end. But I want to start with joining the Army in my time in the Army in Germany. And growing up in the inner city, mostly I just knew what the inner city life was. But as I got to Germany, I began to see that things was different religions, different people, intermingling with people, and life began to reveal certain things to me. And it seemed to be a drawing on my heart center to investigate these things and to learn more, pulling me in a direction that I really wasn't sure what it was, but I followed that. And in my time in Germany, dealing with different people and religions, living in the barracks, living with different people, beginning to see things from different perspectives, growing my horizon as I'm intermingling with different people. And in the end, in life over there, I met people there, stayed with people, and people taught me different things and shared different points of view in life. And in the end, within that 2.5 year period of time of being in Germany, I met someone and who eventually was a German and eventually became my wife. That's my first wife named Elizabeth, who helped me greatly to expand my horizon from just knowing what the Baptist religion is and she was Catholic, and seeing how she was as a Catholic and growing my perspective in life. So I'm going to zoom forward there a little bit to where we eventually got here into this country, and we went through all the process, got married and everything like that. Then we had our first child. So here's the story about a Christmas gift, which I was mentioning, and how life can be in America. So we were out shopping one Christmas evening, buying some last minute Christmas gifts and things like that. And, so we were in one store and the store was closing because it was around 8:39 and they were closing. So they said, okay, bring up all your final purchases and things like that. So we brung it up. And meantime, they locked the door so nobody else could come in the store. So we made our final purchases, and the security guard police, he let us out the door. We left. So we decided to go to another store that was still open yet. And we went in that store. Well, I didn't go in, but Elizabeth, who was my first wife, she went in and she was doing some shopping with my daughter, who was about 1 during that period of time. And at that time, I was like, okay, I'll go and get us something to drink, and then I'll be right back. So I went to the store to get something, and on the way back, I was stopped by the police, and I'm like, oh wow, what's going on here? And then in the instant, I'm surrounded by police, and they tell me, oh well, there was a robbery down the road there, and you fit the description, the vehicle, and everything like that, and so that was a Christmas gift of a shocking, because I went from enjoying that time to spending 2 days in jail, and I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm saying, okay, this is a mistake, and it'll all straighten itself out. And so time went on, to fast forward it. So I went to court, and I'm thinking that, okay, this thing will straighten itself out. They'll see that it's an impossibility, first of all, that it could have been me. It was just way too far from where they actually stopped me for me to have done it. They were looking for somebody in a black vehicle. I got a blue vehicle. Somebody dressed this way. I'm not even nearly fitting the description. And I tell the officer, I said, it couldn't have been me. He said, it doesn't matter. I got you. And so I spent that time in jail, and I went to court, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this will work itself out. So the judge asked me, where's my lawyer? Because I'm thinking, like, wow, this is a horrible mistake that's going to, and so I said, well, I don't have a lawyer because I didn't do anything. She said, sir, you're facing 10 years in jail. You need to get out of here, go get a lawyer, and don't come back until you get a lawyer. So, I came back with a lawyer. To make a long story short, when I got back with that representation, the lawyer said, here, sit here. I sat there. He went into the judge's chamber. He came out in probably less than 10 minutes discussing the case with the judge and the prosecutor. And, anybody that would have seen it could have known that it couldn't have possibly been me based on the evidence alone. But I had to go through that whole process to get that issue resolved. And it did work out for my good. So that's my Christmas gift story, how if I hadn't had the funds to actually pay for a lawyer, I could have been sitting in jail for 10 years saying, I didn't do anything. But thank God that the Spirit wanted me to know something out of that to keep me moving onwards and upwards. All right, so that's it. So next I'm going to talk about my breaking and paradigm shift as growing up Baptist and just moving away from status quo, and having my belief in Baptist and my wife's belief in Catholic, which is similar, but it has some very differences. That what made me know, based on what I believe and how I reacted and responded to Christianity and spirituality, hers was very different, and it was sort of appealing. And so I began to investigate and grow my horizon. But yet I realized that there was something inside of me that was pulling and nudging on that heartstring to move and to grow and to seek out something different. So, and now we're there, we're living. So I'm going to tell you about my breakdown. I had a breakdown, and I was in Georgia, and I was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia. And I was there doing some training and stuff like that. And my wife and daughter, they were still in New Jersey. But at the time, then she flew to Atlanta for a weekend to meet with me. And back then I had this beautiful 1973 Buick Sabre with the 3/4-inch white walls. And it was a beautiful vehicle. But on the way from the airport to Fort Benning, where I was staying at, the car broke down. And we were on the side of the road and tried to get the car fixed, but it wouldn't go. And it's about 9 p.m., it's dark. But just in the distance on the side of the road, I could see a house there with some lights on there. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I could walk over there, knock on the door and say, hey, can I use your phone? Cell phones wasn't like they are today. I could go and I could knock on the door and say, hey, can I use your phone? And, but then I thought about it. I'm like, well, it's 9 o'clock. I'm Black. I go through those woods, knocking on somebody's door. That might not work out well for me. So we stayed from 9 o'clock to about 5 a.m. in the car until eventually the state trooper came in the morning and got us some help. Tow truck to the shop and got the car fixed, and we moved on our way. And that's my story about the breakdown. But why did I say that? It's that, being the time and the relationships and the atmosphere during that time, it wasn't necessarily the love that we're talking about, seeing people as another being, as another loving soul. Me knocking on the door in the middle of the night like that, someone first thought wouldn't have been, here's somebody struggling, they're at my door, let me find out. That time back then in the woods, it's like shoot first and ask questions later. So I was like, well, no, I best not put myself in that position, and I felt that, my guides and angels and stuff was there that looked over us. And I felt that the best choice was just to wait in the morning, and we was in such a rural area. Not a lot of traffic came by, but we were safe through the night and we got through that situation. And so, I stayed there and things were nice there for us. And next I want to talk about is my journey through life, growing up through the ministry of science of mind, getting that foundation there that created a crack in the wall from my growing up being Baptist, just that small crack in the wall that led me to investigate, to give me the foundation to even look outside of the Baptist tradition, because for me, I got into this really kicking and screaming because it was my second wife, Dana. She was familiar with that. Her and her mom, they used to go through the science of mind stuff. And I was like, no, not interested at all. But in the end, I opened up myself to go and view that and grew to love it and to see and find the love and the spiritual world and the inner peace and the inner joy that revealed to me, that opened me up where I would be even susceptible to look at other things. And then knowing that there, after catching the bug, so to say, knowing that there had to be a lot more, and what else could I do with this? What else does this present for me? So we did the things from the non-denominational churches, which was a big part of too becoming open to do this. And then when we got to Science of Mind, we did that a few years, experiencing the love and the growth of a community and that community atmosphere of love and peace. And, just that, it's just amazing when we take a look inside and we can find that peace, that love and joy, which I believe the universe is trying to reveal to us, trying to get us to grab a hold of, catch that love, catch that spirit. So out of that, Dana and I, we decided, okay, let us look further. And that's when Dana, she called Circle of Miracles. She spoke with Reverend Glenda, and we said, okay, yeah, we'll go and we'll check out this community, this center, and we'll attend the ministry school. So, the first time I walked in the door, it was just amazing love, just amazing love, because, you walk in and the thing that let me know that I was right, I got that confirmation when I walked in, because when I walked in, there was a beautiful, amazing picture of the Om, similar to here, that was on the wall. And it was like, okay, Ken, you're in the right spot. There's something here. You just have to open up and you just have to see what it is, investigate it, and I can tell you that from my perspective, the love was oozing out of the community. You know, so many hugs and smiles, and just, you know, when you're welcome, right? And in the end, we went through thing. I told who I was, and Reverend Glenda at the time, she told me who she was, the director and everything. But one of those memorable moments for me, getting into the circle of miracles, and believe me, it's a circle of miracles. So, and was that in the end, yeah, we sang this song, we grabbed hands and we formed this big circle, and we sang the song, "Be Welcome Here," right? Just think about that, be welcome here, how that touches your inner core, you know, irregardless of your skin complexion, your ideology, or whatever. You're just welcome. It's just love. We heard the word love so much. Even Cupid, aim it for my heart. And there was amazing love throughout the entire community. And I got to know so many warm folks. And here's my takeaway though. You know, when I went there, I didn't know a lot about, you know, the spirituality and the metaphysics, things like that. And this was a funny, and I walked in and I was like, well, what are all those rocks about? And somebody said to me, no, Ken, they're not rocks. You know, they're crystals, you know, and so, you know, that opened up a whole nother avenue of things, you know, that the energy, right? And getting into that energy work. And, you know, it's just been an amazing journey for me there at Circle of Miracles. And then taking the modality, like back in the first time I had any type of experience with that in New York, I did some tapping. You know, I didn't get into it much, but it opened that door and contributed to making me susceptible to it. But then I learned about the Reiki, and I began to take the Reiki. And I thank Reverend Glenda so much that she kind of took me under her wing. Another part of that nurturing and growing atmosphere and love, and so many people I see on here that took care of me and supported me and loved on me while I was there. But then I learned about Reiki and the power, and then something else inside of me awakened, you know, and I began to know that there was much more than the physical and the outside of me, that there was something inside of me that's what's connected to something that wanted me to go somewhere and do something and represent something, I believe. And as I studied the Reiki and stuff like that, you know, and some of the different other modalities that I've come to be familiar with Circle of Miracle, it's just expanded my horizon so much, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm continually learning things, and for that I'm thankful that, you know, the founders had the love and the care, like Susan was saying, you know, giving and supporting and keeping the community going. That's important. That's important to us all, that we can have a place where we can go to and be supported and be loved upon and have the growing and nurturing atmosphere that I found when I walked through Circle of Miracles there. So, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I love everyone and thank everyone for coming on and supporting me. But that's my Black history story, and there you have it.